Hey everyone, Alex here. Welcome to this beautiful park near my house here in Mexico. This is the story about how I had not one, but several precognitive dreams about where I'm now living here in Mexico, a whole decade before I even got here. Now, I don't usually tell many stories about my life, but this one I've been holding inside for a while now, and I feel like I have to tell it because it's just so strange and fantastical to me. I know you see me here on YouTube talking about seemingly spiritual or esoteric stuff, but what you might not know is, in a way, I'm actually a bit of a skeptic. I've never been a person to go around attributing mystical powers to myself or believing in anything willy-nilly. Of course, I'm completely open to the mystery and magic of the universe, but I like to keep a rational mind online too, right? So when what happened to me in Mexico started happening, I was truly blown away. But what at first I didn't realize is it all started with a series of experiences I had 10 years before. At that time, I was with my then partner, and we both started getting into something called Hemi-Sync. If you don't know what that is, it's an audio technology that was developed at the Monroe Institute in the 1970s that uses special audio files called binaural beats to induce altered states of consciousness. Hemi-Sync was developed for a range of purposes, like deep relaxation and focus, but its primary goal is to induce out-of-body experiences, or what in spiritual scenes they call astral projection. Basically, you listen to these audio files and they're supposed to help you experience different levels of consciousness and journey to different planes of reality that some people call the astral plane. At that time, I wanted to introduce these out-of-body experiences. And after just a few times of meditating along to these Hemi-Sync audio files, it appears I was very sensitive because I was almost immediately successful. Now, nothing would actually happen when I was actually listening to the audios like it's supposed to. But after listening to one of them a couple of times, for the following few days, in that strange hypnagogic state between waking and sleeping, I would have these experiences where it appears I'm actually floating out of my body and across the room. And that's a whole story in itself. Although, I must admit, for the most part, I never got very far away from my physical body many times because I was always too afraid that I might get lost in the astral plane. And just the fact that it was actually happening was having me question the whole of reality and was borderline emotionally overwhelming for me. But what else started happening is I would have these experiences as I drifted off to sleep, where I would suddenly appear in a very sharp and clear alternate reality. And these experiences seemed very different to normal dreams or even lucid dreams. I had a clear awareness that I was experiencing what appeared to be some kind of alternate reality. And as it was happening, I would have a mental commentary, wondering about what the hell is going on. And after I woke up, I would wonder, was that all in my head? Was that a parallel universe? The astral plane? I never considered it to be somewhere else on Earth because everything looked so different to anything I'd ever seen before. In one of my experiences, I was flying across this nighttime landscape, and the sky was this almost deep purple colour, and I could see a vast ocean to the left of me and this town below me with straight gridded roads. And I had this intuition to swoop down towards this particular building. And as I flew down, I could see all the buildings had this strange multicolored architecture that I had never seen before. And it all seemed so alien to me. So I swooped down towards the building on this road, going along the sea. And I fly into what appears to be this big kind of alcove or shop with an open front. And I'm suddenly in this vivid kind of alien looking place with all these kind of entities running around, and I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. But it was like all of these guys were welcoming me back. They're like, hey, Alex, bro. But they're also kind of distracted, busy running around doing something. And there's this jolly atmosphere and this funky music playing in the background. And I feel welcome and home. And I'm thinking, is this like somewhere I've been thousands of years ago? It seemed like they were welcoming me back after a long trip to the Earth reality, and this is one of my homes on the astral plane or something, on a more subtle level of reality. And so as I'm looking around this place, I see these cartoons on the left-hand wall, and some of them are like cartoons from real life, but they're slightly modified. Like there's Sonic the Hedgehog there, but his arms and legs are different, and he's wearing different shoes, or he's a different color or something. And looking to the right of me, there's this old school arcade games machine in the front right corner of the room. And in the middle of the room, there's this long, thin table, which I thought was some kind of astral games table or something. And I thought they were playing this kind of alien game because it looked like a ball or something was flying off this table and into this small hatch at the back wall. And the experience then ended, and I woke up in this reality thinking that this place I had seen must be some location on the astral plane or something else, because everything that I was seeing I had never seen before. It all seemed so bizarre and alien, and nothing looked like my home country of England. And this was just one of several experiences I had over the following weeks of these other places in another dimension. Fast forward to 10 years later, in fact, last year, I'm sitting on a bench in a park near my house in London, England, on a sunny summer's day. And I feel ready for an adventure. I feel ready to get out of England and take my business across the world. And so I decided to go into deep meditation and set an intuition. And I say to myself, or the universe, show me the way. Show me where I need to go. And I go deep into the inner silence and inner stillness. And after a few minutes, the answer pops in. Suddenly, it was like a huge flash of light went off in my mind, and the name of this particular town in Mexico suddenly flashes into my mind. It was like this huge download, and I suddenly knew a ton of the things that I was going to do and exactly what I needed to do to get there. So I immediately get up, go back to my house, and start booking flights and accommodation. And I had never been to this town before. I'd been to a nearby town in Mexico, but I didn't know anything about where I was going. I had this intuition to not look at anything about it before going, and many people would think I was crazy. The only thing I did do was I randomly skipped to a part of a YouTube video and watched about 5 seconds of it and heard this woman on the video say, if you don't want to be in the loud part of town, book a place further up north, slightly up from the center of town, and so I did. But apart from that, I didn't look at any photos, I didn't look at Google Maps, I didn't look to see if to see anything that was there. I just went completely on a whim and on intuition with complete trust that something amazing was about to happen. And I began selling most of my stuff, and I put the rest of it in storage. God bless my brother for taking a lot of my stuff. And so after a couple of months, I touched down in Mexico, and I get to my Airbnb about 7 p.m. in the evening, and the sun has just set, and I'm excited. I have a quick shower, and I head out of my Airbnb onto this street that runs alongside the ocean. The sea is to the left of me. The sky is this almost deep purple color. I'm walking down this empty pedestrian street for about 10 minutes, and the first place I come to is this taco spot. And I suddenly get this crazy feeling of deja vu. The taco place is in this kind of alcove with an open front, and I'm remembering my experience from a decade earlier, and I'm thinking, no, this can't be, I'm just imagining things. And as I start slowly walking over, I I see all these guys running around, serving food and drinks. And there's this jolly atmosphere and this funky music playing in the background. And as I start walking over to the place, I'm thinking, well, this is a bizarre coincidence. And as I'm turning my head to the left, I'm thinking, yeah, but there won't be any cartoons, and my heart almost stops. On the wall, there's these cartoons. I can't see a modified Sonic the Hedgehog, but as I'm scanning the cartoons, I'm suddenly shocked to see in the same position where I saw the modified Sonic, a Mickey Mouse, looking like he normally does, but modified, looking a bit different. And all these cartoons are this very similar vibe. And then I noticed this long, thin table in the middle of the room. And as I'm turning my head around to the right, I'm thinking, yeah, okay, but there won't be oh shit, there's an arcade machine in the corner. And I'm absolutely stunned. And then I noticed that the hatch at the back of the room that I saw is the hatch that they serve the tacos out of. And so I take a breath and I go to sit down and order a drink and some tacos. And I'm feeling so strange, simultaneously confused and fascinated and in complete awe. This has never happened to me before. And after several minutes, I'm sitting there and I've calmed down a little bit and I'm sipping on my mezcalita, looking around at this place, people watching, enjoying the atmosphere, and my skeptical mind is kicking in, right? I'm thinking, maybe I'm just convincing myself. Maybe I'm just imagining things, or it's a fake memory or something. And as I'm thinking that, I just happen to look up at the bar and something catches my eye. I see this light up letterboard on the bar. You know, one of those little LED boxes where you can rearrange the letters on it to say what you want. And I read the text on it, and it doesn't even make complete sense really, but it says, I was all at Dream. I was all at Dream. What the hell? I'm thinking, it was just like the universe or consciousness is speaking to me and saying, nope, this was real. What you're thinking just happened really happened. If I was ever in doubt, confirmation after confirmation confirmed it. Suddenly the universe is this even more magical place than it was before. So after that experience, I thought that would be a one-off, but no. As I explore this town in Mexico over the several following weeks, I get the same thing happening again and again. I won't go into as much detail, but you know, because they're all their own story in themselves, like this one, but I'll run over a couple of them briefly. It's like all of these experiences, you can be absolutely sure were the place in the dream, but in the dream, things were slightly different, or like a prototype version with some details missing. But the whole vibe is there, and the general vibe of what's going on is there. Several of them, I could pinpoint the exact moment in real life that was the exact moment I experienced in the dream. And those moments would be accompanied with this intense sense of deja vu. Just before the moment arrived, it's like, I know it's coming. I know I'm going to experience something very similar to a particular dream experience 10 years ago. And one of them was at another beautiful place I've stayed at a few times now. In the dream, I flew into this beautiful sunny garden along an exceptionally straight road. And by the way, I keep mentioning these straight roads and the architecture because we don't get straight roads and architecture like that in England. And that's why everything seems so alien. And I was thinking it must be on the astral plane or something. But now I can see exactly what I was looking at. I've seen all that architecture since. And bear in mind, none of these places, or even most of the town, was even built back then. And I had never seen a deep purple sunset sky like that until I came to Mexico either. Anyway, in the dream, I fly into this beautiful garden place with a few buildings on the right and what looked like a plot of alien plants to the left, and at the back of the garden, I'm talking to this older guy, and I can't quite hear the detail of the conversation, but again, I'm thinking I'm on the astral plane or something, and it's like I'm telling him about my time on Earth, and he says to me something like, "Oh, Earth. Oh, I haven't been there for a long, long time. I left thousands of years ago. I've almost forgotten about it." Now, the corresponding experience in real life, or this reality, was when I was staying at that place, and I already knew that this was the place I had seen in the dream. But I was wondering about the person I was talking to in the dream and the conversation I had, and whether that would come true. Until one day, I'm standing there in exactly the same place. I was standing in the dream and facing exactly the same direction, chatting not to an older man, but an older lady, about in her 70s, who was also staying at that place, and she had this unmistakable, clear English accent. And as I'm chatting to her, this intense feeling of deja vu starts coming again. But I forgot about that briefly, and in our conversation about these differences between different cultures, I say to her, "Oh yeah, it's like England," and I'm telling her about my experience of England, and she says, "Oh, England? I haven't been there for a long, long time. I left when I was 15, and I've almost forgotten about it." She hadn't been back for over 50 years. Another time, in the dream 10 years ago, I'm experiencing myself walking at nighttime through this dreamy town with really straight roads and with a female entity companion walking beside me. And it's like we're on some kind of adventure or something. And I get this sense that she isn't my lover, but a good friend that I've known for a long time. And we come to this slight hill. And something about being on this hill seems important. And I look up to the sky and I see this bright purple neon bull animal in the sky. And that's the end of the dream. Several months after living in Mexico, I'm walking with my English friend who had moved to Mexico, but it was her last night before moving to another town across Mexico. And something about that night felt special. There'd been sudden huge developments in AI with GPT, and it felt like it was this monumental moment in human history, like we'd just discovered fire or something. And so we're walking, and the intense sense of deja vu starts coming again, and we start walking up this slight hill, which is actually quite an oddity in this town because it's exceptionally flat, especially for someone like me from hilly England. So you really notice it when you're on even a bit of an incline. And as we arrive at the top of this hill, I just know the moment is coming. And I'm thinking and joking to myself in my head, what if I look up now and see a purple neon bull in the sky? So I look up to the exact position in the sky that I saw the bull in the dream, and I see this cluster of stars, and I say out loud to my friend, I wonder if that's Taurus. And she's like, I don't know, and we just carry on walking. Now, bear in mind, I don't know much about horoscopes or constellations. I used to be very interested in stars and space as a kid, but I could only really remember the main ones like Orion and the Great Bear, and they're pretty much the only ones I could point out to you in the sky. I don't track horoscopes or constellations or the stars or the planets or read about planetary alignments or anything. I'm too busy with my business. The following evening, I'm sitting on my own in a bar and I'm thinking, I wonder. And I download a stargazing app on my phone. And I set it to the location I am in Mexico and start scanning the sky, looking for Taurus in the same position I saw the bull in the dream, in the dream sky. And I can't find it anywhere. And I can't even see it in the nighttime sky. And I suddenly realize, of course, the stars move. Of course, I need to set it to the time that we were actually there. So I'm like, Okay, we were there at 8:20, and I set it to 8:20 and press return, and suddenly the map spins around and there's Taurus, the bull, in the exact position in the sky with a dotted line running through it. And I'm thinking, why is there a line running through it? And I can see the app has drawn a line through it because I see running through Taurus along that line is the moon, Mars, Uranus, Venus, and below the horizon, Jupiter, Sun, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto, an extremely rare alignment of so many celestial bodies at once, which happened just as AI was kicking off and coming into public consciousness. An alignment I've since found out some astrologers think means new beginnings and potential danger. Well, if that doesn't fit with AI, what does, right? And by this time, I'm just laughing to myself, thinking, of course, this isn't a dead, dumb world made of matter. This is a strange dream. This is consciousness experiencing itself on multiple levels at once. I always knew it, but if I ever needed confirmation, I now had it over and over again. I even dreamt about ChatGPT and Midjourney, AI image generator, at the same time, a decade ago, when I was heavily into Hemi-Sync. Well, it was more of a vision that I had as I was drifting off to sleep. I could see what I was thinking was some kind of futuristic computer interface with reams of text pouring out and thousands of completely novel images scrolling past. And I even saw that garbled alien-looking text that these image generators spit out now. And you know, I could go on. I could tell you about several other times that things like this happened. And some of them have yet to happen, but I know they will. I know particular moments are coming, and I'm excited to see how they unfold and what they really mean when they finally happen in this reality. And I have many theories about why this all happened and exactly what's going on. The universe, consciousness is stranger, larger, and more mysterious than we could ever imagine. And if you want, I can go into some of this stuff deeper in future videos. So let me know if you want to hear about that. But when I was planning to tell you this story, I was thinking, well, what's the message in all of this for my audience? What's the moral of this story? And I think it's this. If you want life to be completely magical and dreamlike, tap into the inner stillness within yourself. Allow your intuition, hunches, and inspiration to rise to the surface and open up to mystery and unexpected ways that everything unfolds. Trust that the answers lie deep within you. Deep inside you, there's a wellspring of intelligence and energy that surpasses the thinking mind and possesses a wisdom and imagination far beyond anything that your conscious thoughts could ever conceive. It has ways and means that your thinking mind could never dream of. Trust that the download you need will rush in from the silence when you create an open space within yourself, and then just flow by not thinking about it too much. Receive the download and then just take action. Keep flowing, keep moving with complete trust that you're fully protected, and see what happens. See where it leads you. Perhaps it will be more exciting and fantastical than you could have ever imagined. But I'd love to know what you think is going on. Just assume my story is true if you're skeptical. What do you think is happening? And have you ever experienced anything like this? And if you're ready to embark on your own journey of acceleration and expansion by opening up to the flow and magic of life, I invite you to book a call with me or one of my team to explore if my one-on-one coaching program is the right fit for you. And together we'll help you tap into your inner stillness, intuition, and wisdom and overcome the fears and anxieties that are holding you back. This is a highly valuable call and we don't accept everyone that applies for it. So make sure you provide us some good detail about your challenges and desires when you book the call. Dream big and don't miss out on this opportunity to create a life filled with wonder, magic and authentic creative flow. Visit speaktoalex.com now to book a call and take the first steps towards transforming your life. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. Peace.